Dear students and teachers, I extend you a very warm welcome to today's session. Students, this session is one of the many sessions delivered under the project in Interactive English Language Training for Students, IELTS. Under this program, we focus on skill enhancement, that is, enhancement of all the 4 skills of the language. Why do we do this? We are going to discuss. After that, we'll take up one of the skills. In every session, I advise you to bring your workbooks to these classes. If you have not brought, it's okay, but from next time onwards, please make sure in every EDUSAT lectures, please bring your workbooks with you, because all these lectures are based on the workbooks only. So, as I mentioned, these programs are for the enhancement of the 4 skills. Why? Because what is language? Language is a means of communication through words. Words can be written or spoken. And language is taught and assessed in terms of the 4 skills: listening, speaking, reading and writing. Now students, why this particularly in this sequence only? We call it as LSRW also, because when a child is born, the child listens to the sounds, then the child starts speaking. Similarly, when you read the words, ultimately you start writing the words also. So it is in this particular sequence only, so you can understand how important is listening for speaking of any language. Here the target language is English. If you listen to English, you will be able to speak in English one day. So listening is very, very significant, and today's session is for listening skill. Out of these 4 skills, listening and reading are receptive skills, while speaking and writing are productive skills. So receptive skills means you receive the inputs, and productive skills involves production in speaking or in writing. So students, here is the division of marks for your final exams, just to reinforce the importance of listening skill. You are very well aware that your total marks are 100. Out of these, 40 marks will be for term 1 written paper, 40 marks for term 2 written paper, and internal assessment is of 20 marks. And out of these 20 marks, listening skills carry 9 marks. And for the practice of the listening skill, you have been provided with workbooks with lots of worksheets, and audios are also there on Educare app as well as on the PSEB site. So let us now move on with today's session, that is listening skill. What is listening skill and why is it important? Listening is a receptive skill. We have already discussed. We receive the inputs. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਹੋ, ਸਾਊਂਡਸ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਹੋ, ਵਰਡਸ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਹੋ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਹੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਰਡਸ ਨੂੰ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਹੋ. The sound, rhythm, intonation and stress of the language can only be learned through listening practice. When you listen to the sounds, you listen to the rhythm, the intonation, the stress, then only you come to know where to put the stress and how to produce the sounds. So listening is very, very important for good speaking skill. The more a student listens to the target language, the more is he able to understand the nuances. Nuance means ਬਾਰੀਕੀਆਂ, language ਦੇ ਬੋਲਣ ਦੀਆਂ ਬਾਰੀਕੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਿਨਾਂ ਸੁਣੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਮਝ ਪਾਓਗੇ। ਇਸੇ ਲਈ students, it is very, very important. Listening to English enables the learners to speak in English. This is what we discussed just now. Now, what do you mean by hearing and how it is different from listening? Now, hearing is a mechanical process, involves the ears. Listening also involves the ears, but the difference is it is focused. It is effort to understand meaning of what we hear. ਸੁਣਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਈਅਰਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਸਾਊਂਡਸ, ਇਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੰਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਕੋਈ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਸਾਊਂਡਸ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਪੈ ਰਹੇ ਹੋਣਗੇ, ਉਹਦੇ 'ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੋਈ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਅਨਲੈਸ ਐਂਡ ਅੰਟਿਲ ਯੂ ਕਲੋਜ਼ ਯੂਰ ਈਅਰਸ। ਬਟ ਫॉर ਲਿਸਨਿੰਗ, ਹੁਣ ਇਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੈਸਨ ਨੂੰ ਧਿਆਨ ਨਾਲ ਸੁਣ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਯੂ ਆਰ ਫੋਕਸਡ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੜੇ ਧਿਆਨ ਨਾਲ ਸੁਣ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਤਾਂ ਦਿਸ ਇਜ਼ ਲਿਸਨਿੰਗ। ਹੀਅਰਿੰਗ ਇਜ਼ ਮਕੈਨੀਕਲ, involves ears, but it is mechanical, you do not put any effort, but for listening you put an effort. Hearing is involuntary, it just happens, अपने आप ਹੁੰਦਾ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ, अपने आप sounds ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੰਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਪੈਂਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੈ, but for listening it's voluntary. You do some effort for it, you do it consciously, and in hearing, mentally you may be somewhere else, but in listening it requires complete attention. ਅੱਜ ਆਪਾਂ listening test ਕਰਾਂਗੇ, ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ completely attentive ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਗੇ, you will not be able to get good marks. So if you are now also, if you are not mentally present, so I would advise you to completely focus only on the whatever is happening in the classroom. जो भी आज आप टेस्ट कर रहे हैं, complete attention, focus ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਰੋ, then only you will be able to get good marks. If mentally you are somewhere else, so I'm sorry to say, you will not be able to perform well in the test. So before we do the listening test, let us revise the listening tips which we have already discussed, but which we discuss every time to reinforce the importance of these tips. In a listening test, you will be given a question paper. So question paper, now you are having your workbooks and question paper is given in these workbooks. You will listen to an audio and you will have to answer the questions as you listen. Now, why these letters are in bold? Because this is very important. You have to answer as you listen. ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਸੁਣੋਗੇ, ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ answers ਵੀ ਦੋਗੇ. The audio will be played once only in the test. During your practice sessions in the classroom, your teachers may repeat the audios, but during the test, the audio is played once only. Listen for the names, places, dates, mobile numbers, address, etc. and make notes on the question paper. While listening, if you listen to any important anything out of these, तो be prepared that there may be a question. ਇਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਕੋਈ question ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਹੀ ਅਗਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ important information ਮਿਲਦੀ ਹੈ, quickly note it down in your question paper. While listening, write answers on the question papers. This whole test is all about multitasking because you are doing 3 things at the same time. You are listening, you are reading and writing. You are listening to the audio, you are reading the question paper and you are writing the answers. So this is multitasking and it requires lots of practice. Now pay attention to the instructions and underline the keywords. Keywords will help you in giving answers, proper right answers. For example, if it is written no more than 3 words and or a number, so that means if your answer is of more than 3 words, that means your answer is not correct. So these are keywords. ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ underline ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ instructions ਨੂੰ. Paying attention to the instructions solves half of your problem. All words are counted. So no more means it can be lesser, but it cannot be more than the given number. And instructions are of 2 types. In point number 3, these are the written instructions in the question paper. But in point 4, these are the instructions in the audio. listen to the instructions before listening test starts, because in every audio there are instructions which you have to listen very carefully. In that half minute, go through the questions quickly and underline the keywords so that you know what to listen for. I will reinforce this point. Students, why it is important? I have seen the students, they do not pay attention to this instruction. When the audio says, before you listen to the audio, read question 1 to 5 or read question 6 to 7. So I have observed the students do not read the questions. बच्चे इस चीज़ वाल ध्यान नहीं देंगे. Why is it important? For example, before an audio, the voice says कि read the questions 1 to 5. And there is a question, dash is the author of the lesson. So when you read this question, you become prepared that this name of the writer is going to be mentioned, and you get prepared for the answer. You know what to listen for. So this instruction is very, very important. Questions ਨੂੰ ਧਿਆਨ ਨਾਲ ਪੜ੍ਹਨ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ mentally prepare ਹੋ ਜਾਓਗੇ ਕਿ answer ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ. Probable answers ਵੀ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ and you become focused. So this instruction is very important. So students, ਇਹ ਦੋ points बहुत important है. Read the instruction carefully and listen to the instructions carefully. So this is another instruction. Read the instructions carefully. If it is written, choose the correct letter A, B, C, then you write the letter and not the actual word. In MCQs, multiple choice questions, अगर letter पूछा गया तो तुसी letter ही लिखोगे. Supposing you miss an answer. Next point is, if you miss an answer, don't lose the pace of the speaker by thinking about it, or you will miss the next answers. Come back to it later on. At the end of the audio, we always give you some time for revision. उस time तुसी guess work ना लिख सकते हो, but if you stop thinking, रुक जाओ और सोचने लग जाओगे, what will happen? You will miss the next answers. Don't leave any blank spaces. Guess and write as there is no negative marking. अगर कोई miss हो गया, guess करके लिख दो. Do not focus on words you do not understand, but focus on words you understand and guess from the context. Sometimes there are words which you have not heard earlier or which you do not understand. So it's okay. You can guess the word from the context and write the answers. Don't try to translate everything, because translation takes time and you will lose the pace of the audio. Just listen and write. So students, these are I have repeated all the tips for listening test. Now let us do one test, and please be very, very focused, listen carefully, read the questions carefully and write the answers in your workbook, and if you are not carrying workbook, you can write in any copy. This is listening test from the lesson The Story of My Life. Section 1. An audio will be played. You will have to answer the questions while listening to the audio. For questions 1 to 5, complete the sentences given below. Write no more than 2 words for each answer. So pay attention to this instruction, no more than 2 words.
10 plus 2 English lesson The Story of My Life. This is a listening activity. Dear students, you will hear an audio and you will have to answer the questions 1 to 10. There will be 2 sections. The first one is a conversation between 2 people and the second section is a monologue. So let's listen to the audio. Have you read the autobiography The Story of My Life of Helen Keller?
No, I haven't read it, but I would love to because she's an inspiration.
Yes, even I was moved by her story. You know, it's amazing how Annie Mansfield Sullivan, her teacher, taught her words.
But how?
I have read that one morning Miss Sullivan led Helen into her room and gave her a doll. The little blind children at the Perkins Institution had sent it. When Helen had played with it a little, Miss Sullivan slowly spelt on her hand the word D-O-L-L. Helen was at once interested in this finger play and tried to imitate it. When she finally succeeded in making the letters correctly, she was flushed with childish pleasure and pride. Running downstairs to her mother, she held up her hand and made the letters for doll. She didn't know that she was spelling a word, and even that words existed. She was simply making her fingers go monkey-like imitation.
Wow!
She learned to spell in this uncomprehending way a great many words like pin, hat, and cup. This is the end of section 1. Before listening to section 2, read the questions 6 to 10. Now, listen to the audio. Braille is a system of writing especially used by the blind. This system was perfected by a French man called Louis Braille in 1809 to 1852. Louis Braille himself was a blind man. Louis Braille went blind following a childhood accident in his early age. Braille is named after its creator, Louis Braille. Braille is a special alphabet used by the blind. The alphabet is marked by raised dots on stiff paper which blind persons can understand by the touch of their fingers. Each letter in the Braille alphabet consists of one or more raised dots. The number and arrangement of these dots distinguish one character from another. Books in Braille have to be quite thick. This is because raised marks are punched out in rows across each page. There are many books written in Braille. Blind people can be taught how to read Braille. There are also machines that help blind people to write in Braille. Braille is used by thousands of people all over the world in their native languages. This is the end of the audio.
So students, I will take you back to the question paper once again. If you have missed any answer, you can guess and write. Here is the question paper once again on the screen. Please read carefully. If you have missed any answer, guess and write. This is 6 and 7. Here are 8, 9 and 10. So now let's check the answers. Section 1, answer 1 is autobiography, 2 hand, 3 letters, 4 monkey like, 5 hat. Section 2, it's 1 but actually it's question number 6. So I will read 6 Louis Braille, 7 raised dots, 8 number, 9 blind people and 10 native. So students, I hope you were able to get good marks. If you didn't get good marks, we'll discuss it at the end of the session, how to improve your marks in the next test. But for now, we have another test for you based on poetry. So ready for the next test? Here it is. This is based on poetry, the poem Father Returning Home. An audio will be played. You will have to answer the questions while listening to the audio. For questions 1 to 10, complete the sentences given below. Write no more than 2 words for each answer. So students, read this instruction very carefully. Write no more than 2 words. So here is the audio and write the answers to the fill in the blanks. My father travels on the late evening train, standing among silent commuters in the yellow light. Suburbs slide past his unseeing eyes. His shirt and pants are soggy, and his black raincoat stained with mud, and his bag stuffed with books is falling apart. His eyes, dimmed by age, fade homeward through the humid monsoon night. Now I can see him getting off the train like a word dropped from a long sentence. He hurries across the length of the grey platform, crosses the railway line, enters the lane. His chappals are sticky with mud, but he hurries onward. Home again, I see him drinking weak tea, eating a stale chapati, reading a book. He goes into the toilet to contemplate man's estrangement from a man-made world. Coming out, he trembles at the sink. The cold water running over his brown hands. A few droplets cling to the graying hairs on his wrist. His sullen children have often refused to share jokes and secrets with him. He will now go to sleep, listening to the static on the radio, dreaming of his ancestors and grandchildren, thinking of nomads entering a subcontinent through a narrow pass. This is the end of the audio. You can check your answers. Please check your answers. As advised earlier, if you have missed any blank, you can guess and write. So, let's check the answers. Answer key. Number 1, travels. Number 2, suburbs. 3, dimmed. 4, platform. 5, drinking. 6, contemplate. 7, trembles. 8, droplets. 9, nomads. And 10, dreaming. Hope you were able to get good marks in both these tests. So give yourself marks out of 10 in both the tests. Give yourself marks very honestly and get it checked by your teachers also. And if you were not able to solve some of the questions, we are going to discuss it today. What is the reason? reasons of poor listening. The first point is noise. This noise can be inside the classroom or outside the classroom. For this, both teachers as well as students have to ensure complete silence when the listening tests are going on. So this is an issue which often hampers the performance in the listening test. Interruptions. This again, interruptions can be from inside the classroom or from outside the classroom also. Supposing a student is doing the test very intently, but another student asks something. This is also an interruption. So don't discuss with each other. Don't talk to your teachers also. Don't talk to anyone. There should not be any interruption. And lack of complete attention, wandering minds. Now this is an issue with all the students. You are physically somewhere else and you are mentally somewhere else. This is a very important factor. You have to ensure that you are physically as well as mentally present in the classroom. Anxiety. Some students becomes very tense while doing this test. So this is one of the factors. With many students this happens. They share this with us. And lack of practice. For mastering or for enhancement of any skill, LSRW, any skill, practice, practice, practice. This is the key to success. So you have to practice listening skill before appearing in the exam, final exam. That only will ensure that you get good marks. And a negative attitude. Negative attitude can be of two kinds. One is कि मेरे तो ये होना ही नहीं. This is also negative attitude. Another one is इसका कोई फायदा ही नहीं है. Why do it? So क्यों फायदा नहीं है? ये फायदे दी गल ਆਪਾਂ ऑलरेडी कर चुके हैं. अगर listening दी practice नहीं करोगे तो speaking भी नहीं आएगी. And सिर्फ exam दे 9 marks दे लिए practice नहीं करनी बेटा. It is for your life. English improve करनी है तो ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ listening दी practice दी ज़रूरत है. So both the questions I have answered, and now here are some tips for improvement, for further improvement. Believe in yourself, say I can do it. Previous slide there 2 points cover कीते हैं जिस में negative attitude दा भी and anxiety दा भी. First of all, be confident that yes, I can do it. If you want to learn this language, if you want to master this language, if you want to enhance your skills, you have to first of all believe in yourself that yes, I can do it. And I assure you students, dear students, I assure you, this will help you. And train your ears by listening to news in English, listening to audios in English. This is practice. Even if you do not understand what the news reader is saying, at least your ears will be attuned. ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੰਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ English ਸੁਣਨ ਦੀ ਆਦਤ ਪੈਣਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ. From where do you get exposure to listening? When your teachers read the lessons, when you listen to audios in English, when you listen to news in English, that is getting attuned to the words. Practice. Listen to a word or a sentence and repeat it. Say it aloud to practice. तो बेटा audios ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ send ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਵੀ practice ਕਰਕੇ ਦੇਖਿਓ. audio ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣੋ and then repeat ਕਰੋ. ਕੋਈ ਵੀ English poem ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣੋ and then repeat it. खुद बोलो, practice करो. Then listening will lead to speaking. Read as much as you can to improve your vocabulary. If your vocabulary is not good, then also it is going to hamper the performance in the listening test. For example, ਅੱਜ ਦਾ test ਸੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਚ ਇੱਕ word ਆਇਆ ਸੀ autobiography. Supposing ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਣ ਲਿਆ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਵੀ ਆ ਗਿਆ, but you do not know the spellings. ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲਿਖਣਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ autobiography ਕਿਵੇਂ ਲਿਖਣਾ ਹੈ. You are not going to get marks. And suburbs. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ suburbs word ਕਦੀ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਪਹਿਲੇ, you do not know this word, ਤਾਂ ਸੁਣਨ ਦੇ ਬਾਵਜੂਦ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਲਿਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਾਓਗੇ. So improvement in vocabulary. How will you do that? When you study your lesson, when your teachers teach you lesson, they always explain the difficult words to you. ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਧਿਆਨ ਨਾਲ ਸੁਣੋ, ਨੋਟ ਕਰੋ, pronunciation ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣੋ, pronunciation ਦੀ practice ਕਰੋ. You should know the spellings of all the difficult words in your textbooks. Textbooks ਤੋਂ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ then from real life also, ਕਿਸੇ newspaper ਚੋਂ, ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ book ਚੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ word ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੋ, try to remember the word. Slowly and gradually, one word a day भी करते जाओगे बेटा, तो I assure you it will lead to improvement in the vocabulary. Without a good vocabulary, you cannot perform well in the listening test. You cannot perform well in speaking, in writing. All these 4 skills जिन्हां दी आपां अज गल कर रहे हैं, LSRW, ये सारे बेटा interlinked ने. एक स्किल ਦੀ ਇੰਪਰੂਵਮੈਂਟ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਡਿਪੈਂਡ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਬਟ 3 ਸਕਿਲਸ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਬੇਸਡ ਔਨ ਵੋਕੈਬਲਰੀ ਹੈ. ਵੋਕੈਬਲਰੀ when you come across any new word, this is a tip you should always follow. Whenever you read a word, try to learn the pronunciation of that word. Take the help from your teachers. Download the dictionaries in your phone. You are all tech savvy. There is Read to Me app on your phone that helps you in improving your vocabulary. So learn the spellings of the word, learn the sound of the word, the correct pronunciation. अगर तुसी ए points का ध्यान रखोगे तो definitely you will score well in listening also, because the moment you listen to a word, you will know what to write. Otherwise, जिवें autobiography ਦਾ example ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਵੀ ਆ ਗਿਆ autobiography, पर लिखना नहीं आंदा, it's a long word, spellings नहीं आंदे, you will lose marks. So these are some of the tips, very important tips जिन्हां दा तुसी ध्यान रखना है. And last, second last, be attentive. I am focusing on this point again and again because attention, focus is required in all the skills, but specifically in listening skill, because audio ne rukna nahi, audio will keep on playing, audio dobara nahi chalegi. You have to be very attentive and listen very carefully and relax. Do not be tense, relax and then listen, because if you are tense, you are bound to make mistakes. Focus while listening to the audios. Practice listening at least 20 minutes every day. Now, from where to do practice, I have already mentioned, but I will repeat for your benefit. Audios are there. ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਆਡੀਓਜ਼ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਟੀਚਰਸ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਾਈਡ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋਣਗੇ, ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਲਓ, ਆਡੀਓਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣੋ, ਬਾਰ-ਬਾਰ ਸੁਣੋ, ਬਟ ਡੂ ਨਾਟ ਲਰਨ. ਹੇਅਰ ਆਈ ਵੁੱਡ ਲਾਈਕ ਟੂ ਐਡ ਦਿਸ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸ ਕਰਵਾਈ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਲਾਸ, ਤਾਂ ਸਮ ਆਫ ਦ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਦੇ ਲਰਨ ਦੀ ਆਂਸਰ. ਦੈਟ ਇਜ਼ ਨਾਟ ਲਿਸਨਿੰਗ. ਲਿਸਨਿੰਗ ਮੀਨਸ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਆਡੀਓ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਾਈ ਜਾਵੇ, ਯੂ ਸ਼ੁੱਡ ਬੀ ਏਬਲ ਟੂ ਆਂਸਰ ਦ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ. ਸੋ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸ ਬਟ ਡੂ ਨਾਟ ਲਰਨ. प्रैक्टिस करो उन्होंने ऑडियोज़ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਨ ਦੀ, प्रैक्टिस करो, लिसन टू एनी इंग्लिश सॉन्ग्स, सुनो और समझने की कोशिश करो the words which come in the your songs. Listen to poetry and go use the Read to Me app, which is having all the chapters, all the poems in it. Listen to English news. So this will help in improvement of the skill. अगर ये सारे points का बेटा ध्यान रखोगे, definitely you will get good marks in your forthcoming tests. So this is all about today's session. In case you are having any queries, this is the phone number. It's Varinder Korseko, lecturer in English, Government Senior Secondary School, Machlikla. This is my contact number. You can get in touch with me. So students, we see you in the next session. This is all for today. Thank you so much.